So I've been a psychiatrist for about 20 years now, conventionally trained, Harvard residency program, prescribed medications, and conducted psychotherapy with people. Loved my work. Did that for that way for about 10 years. I came down with my own health issues. Ran 7 miles several times a week. I went to the gym. I exercised every day. I ate a low-fat, low-calorie, high-fiber diet. I did all the things that I thought I was supposed to do. And despite all of that, in my early 40s, I became unwell. And so the things like IBS and chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia and migraines and things that a lot of my middle-aged patients were suffering with. And so it was frustrating for me to try to help them. I went to all my, wonderful Harvard affiliated doctors, specialists, and had all kinds of tests. And everybody said, everything's normal. And of course, it felt anything but normal. And none of them asked me what I was eating. And all of them gave me the same sheet at the end of my appointment telling me what to eat. But I was already doing that. I started experimenting with my diet. And this was probably more than 10 years ago now. Just through trial and error, I arrived at a diet that had basically taken care of all of these problems, every single one of them. And it had a lot of meat and fat and cholesterol and fewer plants, and was much lower in fiber, and didn't have dairy products or whole grains or anything like that in it. And that was the diet that restored my health.
Yeah.
And it not only restored my physical health, which was all I was trying to do, it improved my mental health in ways I was completely surprised by. So my concentration and mood and energy were better. My sleep was better. I was just a lot better able to cope with stress. And I thought to myself, okay, I'm a psychiatrist. Why is this diet better for the brain? At this point, I'm doing 100% nutritional psychiatry. My practice is entirely online now. People can consult with me about whatever questions they have. But my approach is really kind of three tiers. And I think that a great starting place for everyone is kind of a paleo style diet. And that's really just, meats, fruits, vegetables, eggs, nuts, seeds, sort of, get rid of the grains, the legumes, the dairy products, all the modern processed foods. If that doesn't get you where you're trying to go, if you're still not feeling, enough benefit from that, you can make modifications. And I think one of the most important things, I'm sure you would agree with this, is get tested for insulin resistance. Find out where you are at on the insulin, how high your insulin and blood sugar levels going throughout the day and night. And there are easy ways to test for that. And if you have insulin resistance, it's really important. I think one of the best ways, most effective ways to tackle not just the physical metabolic problems that come with that, but the brain metabolic problems that come with that, is to eat a lower carbohydrate or even a ketogenic version of that same whole foods diet. Because if you've got insulin resistance, high insulin blood sugar levels, the brain is not getting enough energy. And that's really, really important to correct. And then there are some people with lots of food sensitivities, or they do a ketogenic diet and they're still struggling. They may need to identify certain food sensitivities they weren't aware they had, or they may need to even try a carnivore diet what I think of as the ultimate elimination diet to identify food sensitivities that they may have been unaware of. And they can either use that carnivore diet long term, or they can use it short term as a sort of a way to clean things up and take a fresh look. I like to say that the most powerful way to change brain chemistry is through food, because that's where the brain chemicals come from in the first place. And that if you start there, then you really don't know. You really don't know how anxious or depressed you really are underneath all of that bad food. I haven't seen any psychiatric condition that hasn't improved by improving the quality of the diet and the metabolic balance of the diet. Because the principles that you and I are talking about are really just all cells in the body need the same nutritional care.
Yep.
And if you're feeding yourself properly, in the best way for your cells, then your brain will benefit. And the brain isn't divided into different diagnostic areas. So it's not as though one part of the brain is the depression part, and one part is the anxiety part, and one part is the bipolar part, and the ADHD part. The brain is an organ. It's all integrated. It's all connected. But I've really have yet to see somebody who hasn't benefited to at least some degree, and in many cases to a significant degree, by changing their diet and just learning the right way to eat. And then the keto diet and the low carb diets, significant benefits beyond food quality, because it improves energy delivery to the brain, reduces inflammation, reduces oxidative stress, all of these things that are kind of the cornerstones of all chronic diseases, including all of the common brain diseases, from anxiety to Alzheimer's. So you really can't go wrong eating this way. And many, many people have been able to come off medication or lower their doses of medication, reduce the numbers of medications they're taking, and cope with life better.
So many of the things that we're told to eat, even by the American Diabetes Association and the American Medical Association, are inflammatory in nature, whether it's the processed grains or the processed legumes, the starchy vegetables, the industrial vegetable seed oils. These things cause inflammation all over the body. And in some people, it'll manifest as knee arthritis. In other people, it could be irritable bowel. In other people, it can be depression and anxiety.
There's no question about it. I mean, that's where the science is actually the strongest, is, inflammation, brain inflammation. It's not the kind of inflammation you can feel or see. It's not as though your brain is red or swollen or sore. The brain doesn't even have pain receptors. So even if it were causing pain, you wouldn't be able to feel it. So, but this inflammation that you can see under the microscope or in the bloodstream, in terms of the chemicals that are released, these inflammatory cytokines, these little SOS molecules that are traveling around saying, we're in distress, we're in distress. Inflammation is one of the underpinnings of most neurological and psychiatric disorders. Depression is, to a large extent, related to inflammation, and really every psychiatric disorder has inflammation at its core, and other problems too. So one of the problems with eating a high sugar diet, a diet that's too high in carbohydrates, fructose, sucrose, etc., is that whenever you get a blood spike of glucose, you get a brain spike of glucose. And that's a very serious problem, because the brain can't handle a lot of glucose. In fact, it's designed to filter out 40% of what's in the bloodstream, so that to protect itself. The brain wants to be in a low glucose environment, but every time you eat something sweet or starchy that gives you a blood sugar spike, you're getting a brain sugar spike. And every time you get a brain sugar spike, you're getting a big burst of oxidative stress, like free radicals building up in the brain, and inflammation. So inflammation and oxidation come with every one of those blood sugar spikes. And most people, as you know, Dr. Berry, are eating this way 3, 4, 5, 6 times a day.
Yep.
So this is putting the brain on this invisible internal roller coaster. And no wonder people are moody. No wonder people have crashes in energy and in their mood, and anxiety spikes throughout the day. They're hungry, then they're tired, then they can't concentrate. It's very rare to meet somebody who has a serious mental health condition without also having some physical health issues as well. And very commonly, chronic pain or digestive problems. And so again, inflammation, breakdown of the natural barriers in our gut. I can't even tell you how many people have said, I was fine until my gut went downhill. And then once my gut went downhill, my brain went with it. I know very, very few people who have serious mental health problems who are otherwise physically healthy. One of the wonderful things about nutrition is that I don't have to think about you as somebody with an isolated brain problem and target a medication to that specific area of the body. I can say, here is a plan that will, I believe, help you with all of these things that you're struggling with. And instead of getting a lot of side effects, we're going to look for side benefits. We're going to look for, not just better brain health, but better gut health and less pain, fewer headaches, more energy. You're going to maybe come off your diabetes medications. We're going to get side benefits.
Thank you.